Thanks for being here and choosing our event on the myriad of events that was happening tonight. We're very pleased to have you here as always. Quick introduction, my name is Bilal El Alami, I'm the founder and CEO of Pirates Lab. We try to foster the development of Web3 and its ecosystem. That's our mission. We try to work on 4 main pillars. The first one is the support with our incubation programs to help entrepreneurs. Second one is education, where we started the school to train the future leaders and builders of the ecosystem. The third one is financing. We do a lot of investments. We invested in more than 30 companies in the ecosystem. And the third one is the cultural aspect, where we're invested in NFT Factory, Laser House, and other project that tries to tackle Web3, but not on a technological standpoint, but rather on a cultural standpoint to try to increase the awareness of what we're all trying to do. So that was a quick introduction. Tonight the program will happen on three milestones. The first one is the roundtable with various VCs coming from different backgrounds, telling us their thesis, what they think of the ecosystem, what are their advice to the builders of our ecosystem. Second part, we will have a small pitch from a company we just onboarded, and we're very proud of onboarding this company called Interstellar, which is a marketplace dedicated to wine and spirits. And finally, they're doing a project with a major brand in the wine ecosystem called Malartic La Gravière, which they will be talking about, and you will be able to taste some of this wine, some of this fine wine. So be patient until the tasting comes. Without holding the speech anymore, Jeremy, I'll let you introduce the speakers and moderate the roundtable. Thank you.
Thank you, Bilal. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here during this busy week. I'll let you take a mic. I'm going to start to introduce our VCs. We got from the left, starting from the left, Julien Bouteloup from Stake Capital, Olivier Martret from Serena VC, and we got Cécile Tréboit, from Earlybird, and Nathalie Yang from Lbank Labs. First, I'll let you introduce your company. Cécile or Nathalie? It's working, I guess.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. So I'm the investor with Lbank Labs. I have been in the space for over 3 years. Lbank Labs, we are a multi-strategy $100 million VC fund. We do direct investment in the early stage projects. We do investment in the VC fund, and we also trade the liquid token on the public market. For myself, I have been in the space for over 3 years. I actually started my career in the TradFi space with a famous short seller in the US called Muddy Waters Research, and they are famous for taking down the fraudulent companies in the stock market. I also had the entrepreneurship experience building and growing my own companies back in China. And I learned about crypto in late 2018. I was totally hooked into the space. I joined Binance in early 2020. I was with different teams, exchange business team, the investment team, and also build the NFT platform from scratch with the NFT team. Now I switched the investment side with Lbank Labs, and happy to be here today.
Thank you. Cécile.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Cécile, part of Earlybird's investment team for a year and a half now. Earlybird, in a few words, it's a German fund initially, now pan-European. We have 2 billion assets under management across different investment strategies, different stages. The fund I'm part of, it's a 350 million fund. Seed Series A, so we invest in companies that usually have already a bit of traction. We can invest in token and in equity, and yeah, basically the way we position ourselves towards Web3 companies, which we invest in since 2017, is as like complementary to crypto native funds in the sense that we really bring this yeah, like VC job brick, and we have like a different value added coming from a rather traditional fund that exists for 25 years. got interested in blockchain same in 2017. Initially, I have a background in social sciences, so kind of entered the space through this prism. So I was writing essays on like the impact of blockchain on geopolitics and such. And then since I shifted to finance, also extended my interest there. Yeah.
Olivier.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm Oliver, partner at Serena. So Serena, this is like a French fund, created 14 years ago now. We have around 800 million under management. We have two dedicated funds. First one more on the seed and pre-seed investments on specific verticals, like so data, AI, consumer, Web3, and impact investment thesis. And the second part is regarding early growth investments, so basically check size between 5 to 10 million, more vanilla. So we invest also in fintech, insurtech, marketplace, and that kind of company. Regarding like the Web3 space, personally involved in that space since 2017, investing deeply in the Ethereum ecosystem. And so to regarding Serena right now, we invested in the consumer side of the Web3 space, mainly in entertainment and gaming right now. One of the specificities of Serena is that we also have like a operating platform. So basically how to help to execute for our founders and C-level of our companies. So we help them for the go-to-markets, the product market fits, help them like to hiring great people and so on. So this is the way we are also helping us.
Thanks. Julien?
Hello guys, so my name is Julien Bouteloup. I'm the founder and CEO of Stake Capital Group. Stake Capital Group is a group of different companies. So we have asset management for retail called Stake DAO. We have biggest asset manager on the NFT market, Blackpool Finance. So we have cards such as Mbappe, Griezmann, and all different things. We cover baseball, basketball, different games in the space of the blockchain industry. Rect News, the media or deep firm for investigations in whatever happens in the space. We also produce some good content videos and also like some articles about what are we building. I mean, this ecosystem, what is actually the future of everything that we're building. We have a quant, so we do all type of market making, arbitrage, liquidations, and type of things. We are one of the only one left in the industry. Triero Capital, Celsius, and all different guys, they are left. So we are some of the ones that are still alive. The family office, we have invested more than 250 plus deals in the industry. A lot of different projects in a French ecosystem. And also I'm I think the only one investor in seed advisor in Curve Finance, the auto market maker in the space. So yes, we invest, we also educate, we have an academy, we have a podcast, and we finance and help many different projects in the ecosystem. Yeah, that's it.
And Julien, could we describe Stake Capital as the first crypto-native VC fund?
Maybe Blackpool, but yeah, I mean, I've been in space for quite some time. I started in late 2010, 2011 as a Bitcoin maximalist, and then Ethereum, and now I'm chain agnostic. It's easy to say today, but back then, when you said that you were also looking into different blockchains, people were like, "Oh, this is not possible. Only Bitcoin, only Ethereum," and now today. Many different blockchains. Yes, we invest equity tokens, and because we have activity of quantitative trading, so we can also participate in the market as different strategies. I did the first flash loan. We're also pretty big in the liquidations market. Yeah.
And for the others, which are more traditional, why did your funds decide to invest in Web3?
So basically, I think the main job of a VC funds is like to invest in new disruptive technology. And since 2017, we see the growth of that technology and the value it can bring to different verticals. And that's why we decide like to deeply work on our investment thesis and to build specific funds or we are building right now in order to invest in token. But this is mainly because this is our job to identify that kind of disruptive technology. Yeah.
Cécile?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty similar answer. Might have been also a bit opportunistic. I think our first investment in the space was in Shapeshift, which was is an exchange, and that's also how we became able to invest in tokens. It's because it got decentralized. We became token holder and had to adapt our structure. But yeah, I mean, it's our job to really focus also on the technological streams that are promising, and Web3 is definitely. So yeah, we started looking at it.
Nathalie, was it normal for Lbank to go into Web3?
Yeah, definitely. So with the recent incident happened, like the FTX, Silicon Valley Bank, I think all these issues were caused by the single point of failure. So on the investment side, we really want to invest in the project from top to bottom that can contribute to the decentralization, so we can avoid such like incidents in the future.
So for the founders here, what kind of investment thesis can make you invest into their companies? Maybe Nathalie?
Sure. So we like founders that are serial entrepreneurs that have proven track record in the space. Definitely, there are a lot of reasons why we want to invest in a project, but at the end of the day, I think it's about the people. It's really about the team and the founders who actually are willing to make things happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. If like the question is like, what are we focusing on when we look at a Web3 company? Indeed, team is the most important, and it is like in Web3, but also in the traditional VC world as well. Yeah, and there was like at the really beginning when I joined Earlybird and like started focusing on Web3 as well, because before I was in a VC that was really just traditional and not investing in Web3. Everybody was kind of wondering, like, is there another way to analyze like a Web3 team and such? And there's indeed like a really technological part that needs to be taken into account. But we're really still looking for business-savvy founders, because you might have the best technology. If you don't sell, then it's not going anywhere, right? And we're asset managers, so we still need to return the money with a multiple. So yeah, really looking for technological knowledge, business acumen. I guess there's also like a part that we're seeking, something that we're looking for is how integrated in the community and how, like how much does the founding team knows the space, because there's still this kind of network effects that have a lot of impact. Yeah, and then like kind of looking at a normal way to analyze founders also for traditional companies, I would say.
And are you blockchain agnostic like Julien with Stake?
I'm sorry, I didn't get
Are
it.
you blockchain agnostic like Julien, like Stake Capital? Are you looking for a specific blockchain or specific technology?
Yeah, I would say like I mean, it kind of depends. Since I started, I was kind of opportunistic, so just like, looked at streams, kind of looking at the trends. This year, I tried to do it a bit differently. I tried to, like, be more thesis-driven and just, like, tell myself, okay, like, in the next months, like, what do I want to look for, or, like, what sectors do I want to, like, focus on? Yeah. So, but, yeah, like, I'm blockchain agnostic as well.
Olivier, what are you looking for with Serena?
Yes, perhaps because I will not repeat what was just said, but we saw two kinds of entrepreneur diving into the Web3. We have the new entrepreneur from the Web3 ecosystem. We really well know that ecosystem and the technology, and we see Web2 entrepreneur or serial entrepreneur diving into that ecosystem because they know there is something to do here. And so basically, I think like that kind of person are not really the same. So we try to bring the best of the two worlds, So basically, we see a lot of companies now merging expertise from serial entrepreneur from the Web2 and gathering expertise from someone really knowing that technology. And this is the way we are looking at this. But basically, of course, this is the same way we are looking for Web2 companies and traditional one. The fact that there is a complementary team, that the fact that they know very well the markets, they very well know the competition and also the technology, and they know the value they can bring to the ecosystem. And the last point is like also, are they aware about the business model they can bring? Because today this is quite hard.
So are they aware, usually?
Some of them know, so we try to, and we try also to ask them the right question in order to take attention about that, yes.
Julien, you probably have the biggest Web3 portfolio here, from Sorare, Request Finance, Curve. What convinced you to invest in a company?
Well, I think for us and for Stake Capital, we only invest, or maybe like 1 or 2% can be outside of this criteria, but in technology that we understand ourselves, that we are not necessarily the best one to implement, or we don't have time. So we invest in technology, we invest in projects where we can leverage the project internally in our group activity. So if it's an auto market maker, then obviously it's for the quant. Then you have, I don't know, Bolero, the music industry, then it's for Blackpool. So we don't actually invest in projects that we don't know how to use ourselves. I would say maybe like SaaS project. This is not something that we necessarily understand because the activity of Stake Capital is pretty deep in technical understanding of the space. So financial concept, mathematics, physics. I would say like 80% of the group is composed of people with physics or mathematics background, analysts and quants guys. So that's why we know and we can quantify or analyze the type of project that will potentially be part of the next pillars of this society. So that's how we approach them. And also coming back to the points that were mentioned on the panel previously, I think like in traditional finance or in Web2, founders and entrepreneurs, when they build a company, we usually say that 8% of the success of the company is the idea, and the rest, 92%, is the executions. I would say that in the DeFi and blockchain space is actually more drastic. 1% or 0.5% is the idea, and then the rest is the power executions. Because it's so easy to find new ideas in the space, and usually in the Web3, we kind of replicate the same ideas of the Web2, and then we use the infrastructure of the blockchain to make it faster or to be able to communicate to a broader market audience. So it's not really something. Those ideas have always been they're all in from the past. So what we're looking for, it's only people to execute those ideas. And sometimes you might be the best one to come up with the idea, but will be the terrible one to execute the project. And this is important. So yeah, we only looking at the 1% or less than 1% for the idea, and then the rest the team. So it's important that if you're thinking about building a company in the blockchain industry, you need to find the best guys that don't necessarily have your skills and can drive the mission of the idea that you either found yourself or you took online. And also don't try to come up with your own problem. There's sufficient amount of problems in society. Then finding a solution to a problem that you just created yourself, this will not make it.
Yeah, of course, Cécile.
If I can just add to it, indeed, looking if it's actually solving an actual problem, it's definitely something I'm looking at as well. And just to nuance what I was saying related to the teams, I think it also depends on the business. So having like Web2 founders, just like building another venture with like Web3 related, if in the end they're just selling to Web2 companies, I think it can still work, while like, actually infrastructure place, you can be way more technical and just like be connected with the right person, and then you can sell. It's just like not the same people you sell. So this needs to be taken into account.
We're going to talk about the market conditions just after that, but as an example, like FTX change the way you're making your due diligence. Nathalie, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So I think it has been a lot going on recently. I believe like a good investor should be a good independent decision maker, and our phase in the space probably won't solely rely on a single company such as FTX or Silicon Valley Bank, but definitely those are the good like aspects to be aware of. Nonetheless, we actually focus on the long-term growth. So like I mentioned above, like in order to avoid such like a single point of failure, we try to see what are the solutions in the industry, the unsolved problems, so we can invest in the technology innovation to avoid such tragedy in the future.
Another one, Cécile, maybe?
Yeah, I guess like it's in the now being taken into account in the risk assessment as a whole, like how interconnected is the company with the rest. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, first, this is mainly how to use the right tools in order to audit contract or to see where the token is hosted from which kind of community and so on. This is we are looking for that kind of a solution right now for doing our audits.
Julien, do you want to add something?
Yeah, sure. I don't think the failure of FTX and those guys necessarily changed the way that people investing money do the due diligence. It's more about the market. If it's a bear market, then the due diligence and the way you do audit those projects, then obviously it takes more time because it's bear market and you have less liquidity on the market and more opportunities, but no one wants to actually take the risk. In bull market, if you have FTX or those guys that failed, if it was a bull market, you will still have easy way to raise capital. So it's more about the market. If the market is bear or bull, then you completely change the way that people are making pushing money, because VCs they tend to have this appetite for FOMO. So it's always about who can get in first. And if there's a big VC or big name going first, then they will all follow. In bear market, it's a little bit different. They will actually look more closely to the project and make sure that it's pertinent in this current market phase.
So what kind of mix do you prefer? Tokens, equity? Obviously, if a project has equity, but as tokens?
Well, I think there's two different ways that companies are usually structured. So in European or France, they call it the BSA-R, but in American style, it's like the SAFT. So normally, if the structure of the project is correctly established, you can trigger the SAFT and still keep equity in the company, and then for future tokens. I would say that VCs and people, angels, tend to like the tokens because it's more liquid. And now that you have a smart contract that can dictate or control the way of distribution of those assets. So, and now also another aspect is the governance aspect of those assets. So you can have access to the tokens and participate in the governance of the different projects without necessarily having access to the vested tokens. So it's completely new game. Before it was equity, and then you could vest them over 9 years or 10 years or whatever. So the structure and the way that VCs or investors have to work now, it's completely different, because instead of waiting for many years, you can exercise the right to vote that before you couldn't really do, except like with legal contracts and all different things. So it's a complete new game in the industry. So now a VC has to be a player instead of just waiting to cash out. Yes.
Olivier, do you agree?
Yeah, just to go back for regarding like a token investment, regarding equity investments, I think for the last 24 months or 36 months, it was really hard. When you discuss to a Web3 company, they just ask you, are you investing in token? But basically right now, when we are talking, it's a 95% of the investment are doing in equity. Of course, there are like warrants and so on in order like to convert into token. But today, if you want to invest as a VC in that ecosystem, you can do it in equity. But regarding Serena, for example, we are right now working on a crypto fund in order to, as you mentioned, our job and the way we'll do our job, it will be very different in the next decades. And we have to work on this and to change the way we'll invest and to be a player and not only an investor, clearly.
Cécile, are you buying tokens and playing with it?
Yeah, just to add to it, but I think we're going to talk about it later. Investors are not only investors. I guess like we also have like a value added. But agreed that like token investing, it also unlocks a lot of things. We were talking about liquidity. Obviously, there's something VCs need to think about is also DPI. So this is easier for this. Token vs equity is the same. We've seen, I mean, in the past year, like more and more equity deals anyways, like related or like compared to 2 years ago or something, where like a lot of projects were saying like, yeah, we're going to have a token and such. And in the end, it didn't have like an actual value added. I think this like founders realized. So we see way less in the market. And if we focus on France, it's true that like with the regulation, actually, like no VC fund actually can invest in token. So I think I don't know where your fund is based, but I'm not sure if it's in France. As we can
Switzerland.
Invest. It's a family office, so maybe it's different. For us, it's because we're based in Germany, but like, yeah, in fact, or like factually in France, it's not possible yet. That's my understanding. Yeah.
Nathalie, with Lbank, are you able to buy equity and tokens?
Yes, actually we invest in both equity and the token. And if we want to do the investment in equity or token, I think it really depends on the nature of the business and also the revenue model of the business. For example, if project is more type of Web2 business model, providing a SaaS model, B2B model, probably equity makes more sense. But if the project has its own community and it wants to incentivize its own community or bootstrap from zero, airdrop is a good way to do it. So token actually makes more sense. So it really depends on the nature of the business, I would say. We will decide which to invest.
Besides money, I think this is important. What kind of support are you providing to your companies? You mentioned education. Is it part of your role as a VC?
Sure. So definitely a tons of support we can provide to the entrepreneurs. So first of all, we have a founder fund. So far, we invested 13 crypto VCs all over the world, and we are trying to build a global network for our portfolio companies and our team. So for each portfolio companies, if they want to expand into certain geographic region, we can provide the point of contact and support in the local region. And we usually gradually we became really good friends with our portfolio companies, the founders team. On the tokenomics side, if there's a token involved, we also provide advice and design the tokenomics with the team. And definitely we can help with the financing side. We also have a lot of portfolio companies, I think in total over 100 right now. So we can really find the C users for the project and the team, and also make the intros to the ecosystem partners.
Cécile, with Earlybird.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying earlier on. We really position ourselves as complementary to crypto native funds. So basically, we just like start with the conclusion that Web3 is just a bunch of new technologies, right? And we know how to help scale any new type of technologies for 25 years. So yeah, basically we're not going to be able to help on like the designing of the tokenomics or like on really technical stuff, which crypto native funds are helping on. But we really help on like more the operational brick, like go-to-market strategy, pricing. We have like operationally like a team which helps like also on like recruiting, on PR communication and stuff. And we also have like really like the basic job of a VC, like strategic decisions, help on fundraising for the next round, macro vision in a sense, like also on like competition, what's happening, what you could do, etc. So yeah, we're actually quite active because we invest as a lead or co-lead usually, which means that we also make less investments in a year compared to, I mean, there's like many ways of investing, right? Some funds follow, then like it kind of depends of the stages as well. But yeah, we tend to invest in less companies, take more ownership, obviously. It's like different investment strategies, but really spend the time with the founders. And we see that it resonates a lot with Web3 founders because they also need this value added.
Olivier,
Yes.
same question.
Yeah. So we have at Serena there is two parts of the job. And for the investment team, this is mainly how to help you on your equity story. So basically, when a startup pitch us, this is because they have like an investment thesis and they want like to achieve milestones in terms of revenue, in terms of go-to-market and product market fit. So basically, this is the first thing we are helping on about the equity story and help you to achieve that milestones. And after that, we have that execution part. And so we have dedicated resources, serial entrepreneurs who are full-time at Serena, helping you on their go-to-market, product market fit, the pricing model, about how to implement BSPC for your collaborators, or that kind of things like that. And so, yeah, this is mainly operational and strategic.
Julien?
Well, we are builders, so we've built some of the major projects in the DeFi space. So technically speaking, we can help those projects, smart contract auditing, from token economics to scalability and different stuff of mathematics aspect of the different projects. So yes, we can really help. And this is what we do, because we only invest in projects that we can leverage the concept of the idea internally. So if we don't think we can help, then we don't invest. And if we don't think we can actually use, then we don't invest. And usually it's interesting, because when we invest in a project, then we trigger all the different projects internally across the group that we have built ourselves. For example, StakeDAO for managing liquidity, Blackpool for managing assets. So if we invest in Sorare or FunLive and different projects like this, then we are participating in a project. And sometimes some investment that we've done, because we are also client of this project, then we actually realize then this is not good. So then you have strategy about how to help them achieve the mission, or just try to pivot the project, because we understand. Because as a user, we understand that if we cannot use the product, why people should actually be able to use the product, and this is important for us.
And when do you decide to exit your investment? When it is a good time to sell your shares and or your tokens?
Well, I think I'm a bit different from the rest of the crew. We don't have LPs, so we're not accountant or any obligations to have a performance on the spreadsheet. And again, the reason for that, this is own capital, and for us, it's really for the long term, because we are clients of those projects. I think now today, if we have to exit or if we have to sell, then we never done actually in all the projects that among like plus 250. It's not saying I will not do it. It depends. But yes, it's.
Didn't you sell your GEM investment, GEM XYZ?
No, I was forced.
Okay.
It's different because they sold it to OpenSea.
Oh yeah, all right. Yeah.
So you don't have choice. But yeah. No.
Olivier, you, for example, you sold to Dearwise to Animoca.
Yeah. So basically, for that investment, that was mainly because like the synergies between both companies was really, really interesting. So we decided with the entrepreneur, of course, to do this exit, and we still have shares of Animoca, but we also have a part of in cash. So that was like the best use case and the best history for Dearwise. So that's why we decided to do it with them. But regarding like our traditional funds, so this is the life cycle of investment is like 10 years. We invest for the 5 first years, and then we try to disinvest. But so this is like a long-term relationship with the entrepreneur. And of course, we have like a shareholder agreement with all the stuff, how to exit and so on. But of course, it's mainly like a strategic decision with all the board, if it's like the right time or not. For example, we invest in a company early in 2013 called Dataiku. We are still in the company. We are helping them like to do like the IPO in the next 2 years. So this is the kind of history we want to do with our entrepreneur.
Yeah, so here I think like we need to make a difference between equity investments, traditional funds, and token investments, where indeed I say like you invest in a private sale. If there's a token launch, it's like 2-3 years after, and then you have like a vesting of two years or something. So it's like really faster to cash out. But I'm actually not sure. I don't have the data or anything, but I'm not sure. I don't know what's the percentage of the crypto native funds that actually cash out whenever they can. I think there's a lot of crypto native funds that actually hold to the funds. So yeah, but I would say our activity at Earlybird is also more traditional, really staying long term. As I was saying earlier on, we have different investment strategies, so from pre-seed to growth, and also try to accompany founders on really like the whole development of the companies until the exit. So whether an IPO or just like being put. Yeah.
Nathalie, with Lbank, when do you decide to cash out usually?
Yeah, we also don't have external LPs, so we don't have the external pressure to sell the shares or the token. I think for most of investment we do, we support the holder, the founders in the long run. And it really depends on the stage of the projects, because usually a Web3 project, if we invest in token, VC usually come before the community is built. So we will actually build the community with the founders together. And if the community is not there yet, we sell the token, it actually will destroy the project and the community. So we'd rather stay with the founder in the long run. And when the community is mature, the product is mature, their certain liquidity will exit partially, but we will definitely not sell all of them. Yeah.
Okay. Currently, what kind of landscape are you seeing? We say that bear market is the best time to build. Do you see a lot of good projects, good ideas to invest?
For sure, for sure. First of all, I think right now it's the best timing to invest, to be honest, because I believe in 2021, when during the bull market, when we talked to project, they said, okay, sorry, we closed our round last week. You are too late. But right now, the valuation actually makes more sense. We are still very early at the, if we look at the crypto adoption all over the world, we are very early still. And we are always trying to think about where the next volume and the new traffic actually will come in the area. There are still a lot of unsolved issues, problems. For example, scaling is still an issue. So we actively think about the roll-ups and also the app chain thesis a lot. Right now, privacy is still an issue. Probably the company's mass adoption will not come in until this issue is solved. So we're also actively looking into the protocol that will solve this issue. Another one probably will be the seedless wallet. We're also looking into AA. And definitely a lot of areas we are digging into.
Yeah, okay. So on the topic of the bear market, I agree that it's maybe one of the best time to also invest. Valuations are down. You have more, kind of the power changed. Related to deal flow, I see still less quality deal flow, but and related to the time, indeed, we have maybe more time. We're not changing the way we do our due diligence. So even in 2021, we were really trying to take the time. And in terms of the streams, I think like there are interesting stuff both on the infrastructure side. So I'm looking at more security, data tools, developer tools. But then, one should not forget also all of these companies that are actually selling to Web2 as well. Because there's a lot of potential here as well. And market sizes might be bigger. And that's also these companies that actually have money. So if you want to make a company profitable at one point, you also need to take that into account.
Olivier?
Yeah, so basically there is less noise on the market. Of course, less project also to see. So this is a great moment for us to focus on our investment thesis, to deep dive into it, and to have and build strong conviction and a network in order to gather the great projects. So this is the way we are doing it in 2023, for example. Regarding the stream or what we are looking at right now, this is basically, as for the data, we are looking for the infrastructure side. So you mentioned like the security, the identity, that kind of stuff. This is really important, and we are looking at this. And also because we are all thinking about how to onboard the next billion users on the developer side, of course, to democratize that the blockchain technology, and for the user and the end user, or to democratize that some use cases into it. And regarding the use cases on top, for us, we see a great opportunity on the gaming and entertainment verticals, because since like 20 years, 30 years, you are trading digital assets. You are trading like your accounts on eBay. Just right now, thanks to the blockchain, you can trade it directly on the marketplace. So we are looking at that kind of use cases.
Julien.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are less deals, because if I look at my analysts, they're always super busy. So, yeah. So I think the quality of those deals, I think there are a lot of deals on the market, but to find the good ones, it's a little bit more difficult. You've got more capital for investment, so more VCs. I think we're talking about 9,000 VCs in the world that now are investing in the blockchain space. A couple of years ago, it was very difficult for convincing VC or investor to invest in the blockchain space. So because now you have more capital availability in the market, so projects don't necessarily need to expand to outside niches in order to attract capital. And also the foundations, pillars that we've seen in the blockchain space. There was a scalability, network, blockchains, different chains that was easy for people to build. I think now what we're looking into for us, not necessarily in the SaaS or products on top, as they mentioned, also more like pillars of this to make this transitions, industrial revolution happens. For us, it's like zero knowledge proof, scalability, security, or fully homomorphic encryption, like projects such as Zama. So this type of things is more difficult to build because you need knowledge and skills that on the market is not easy to find. So that's why the type of project that you will see and happen and make it possible are less likely to be everywhere in different industries. So yes, and I think there's still, as mentioned, many deals. Now it's more a question of to find the best one, and now you have more capital injection on the market. It's more difficult to compete. But during bear market, as you mentioned, is a time where it's the best time for builders to build. Valuation are less, they make more sense. But now it's more like competition between different people to invest. That's why we like also to work in the French industry with French or European VCs in order to try to attract and keep those projects in the European space. There was a study that I've seen yesterday, 60% of all the DeFi projects, blockchain projects, are European based. But sometimes they used to leave Cayman Island, BVI, US for some reasons, because they couldn't raise capital. I think now there's a time where they can stay in Europe and raise capital. And it's a big opportunity for us as well.
We didn't talk about the regulation, but obviously the regulation is kind of blurry in a lot of jurisdictions. Most of them, actually, is it an issue for you before investing?
Well, I've got the mic.
Go on.
I think that was a good news today. Coinbase.
Yeah.
Circle. Yes, USDC. So they establishing a headquarters in the French.
Paris, yeah.
I hope it will push regulators and governments in Europe to realize that there's a massive opportunity and they need to accelerate the adoptions of blockchain industry in the European side. Because Binance, we also have Crypto.com. They're all making headquarters in Paris for some reasons. So it's really good. Regulation MiCA 2, unfortunately, this is not necessarily a good news, but at least the regulators are looking into the matter. What I would like to see is the community is the two sides of the communities. You have the ones coming from the regulators and the politics, and the one from the builders and blockchain. We tend to fight each other. But I think there's a way that we can all work together in order to build the society of tomorrow using the tool of whatever we're trying to build, and also compete outside. Because at the moment, the US and Asia, they kind of advance in this aspect. And if we don't start the adoptions today and try to convince them that this is actually 99% or 90% of whatever is being built in the blockchain space is kind of craps. You know? But this was the same with the internet bubble. 1% actually changed completely the society. So they need to realize that whatever is being built today will change the society of tomorrow. It's just a matter of analyzing the good deals and the good people and then trying to help them. Because whatever happens, we don't want ChatGPT and AI is disrupting again Europe. So in the next decade or 20 years, there will be a next GAFA, Google, Amazon, and those guys. So we need to build stuff in European-based and help those startups and try to convince regulator and politics this is actually the best opportunity for sovereignty of Europe and etc.
Yeah, just to complete this, I know that in France there is like Adam Association, who is helping a lot at a European level in order to push like the right message for the regulators. So this is like a really great job they are doing here. And perhaps for us, because we are also facing like difficulties regarding like regulation stuff at AMF level, because the expectations in order to build a French fund on the token side is like really hard. So this is interesting because it's like putting higher the expectation in terms of security and so on. So we are facing like the first fund basically in France doing this. So the lawyers are also learning. The IMF is also learning. So you are facing like this is like a new disruption for that industry. So we are trying like to be the first on that side.
For Earlybird in Germany.
Yeah, related to regulation, so we have our own AMF as well, the BaFin. It's kind of similar, but I guess maybe like on token investment, they just I don't know the details of it, quite frankly, but it's still possible in Germany. Yeah, just to add to what you were saying, Julien, I think it's also linked to the regulation, the fact that a lot of companies went to the US or other entities, and not only the fact that they couldn't raise in Europe. But yeah. Yeah, sorry, what was the question again?
Is the current landscape an obstacle before investing?
Do I look at the regulation before? Yeah, so I think like obviously I look at it. I guess like it can be linked to some businesses as well. So for instance, I was looking at a company recently that's doing like tax reportings, B2C and B2B. And basically, it was quite interesting, but there was no willingness to pay until like the regulation actually like imposed the fact that there had to be like some tax reportings for these companies. So it was not coming before 2026, and so I did not invest in this company because for us we're still looking like to have a short term upside.
Nathalie, do you want to compete?
Sure. I think definitely we want our like portfolio company to actively think about the regulation, and it definitely plays a very important role when in terms of the planning for the company. For example, China actually banned the crypto in late 2021. That's why I moved out of China. And just look at this industry, actually the people in the industry are very young, so the mobility is very high. If certain country banned the crypto, they can easily, generally easily move to another country. So if a country wants to ban the industry, actually they will facing the chance to lose a lot of talent, flowing into another region. That's why Hong Kong chose to open crypto actually recently. When we think about who is the biggest loser when the government actually ban crypto company in the region, right? It's actually the I would say tax authority. For example, Arbitrum airdrop. If the European users cannot access the airdrop, I just imagine how much tax they will lose. So I think in the long run, actually, the regulation will favor crypto.
this is the Paris Blockchain Week. Is this kind of event good for you, for business, and is it a good idea for founders to come to see you, to introduce you their decks, and is it a good event for businesses? Like yesterday, it was the talent fair. I think you were there, Julien. Are you looking for startups around here?
Oh, we're always looking, looking for everything. Developers, startups, new ideas, and also like potentially some the thing that will be sought outside the box. You know, everyone at the moment they're all thinking in it's always the same in this industry or like investment side. It's like everyone mentioned a name and they all want to do the same. Like it was AI and so. Scalability, zero knowledge proof, that will be some people creating new ideas, new concepts that haven't been sought yet in this industry. This is what we're actually trying to look for. It's difficult. Yes, like those projects they were pitching yesterday, I think Bubble Maps won the competition. It's also like a project that we are helping. There was a wallet for Bitcoin. It's interesting how the Bitcoin ecosystem is moving into DeFi, where 99% of all those guys, they said that they didn't like DeFi and NFTs. Now they're all fancy using them. So yeah, it's we are, and it's a really good moment for us. Like we usually meet during the week, try to do some deal flow, share aspect of project that we either help or invest and see the current situation. It's what's interesting in the investment side is like sometimes you might be investor as a seed, and one of your friend VC will go for the next level, and then vice versa. Then they probably have in the seed, and they will share the deck, and the community is very small. So you really don't want to lose fast or like reputations, because it's reputation is the biggest thing that you can build in your life, and especially in the investment side. And things can go very quick. So you have to be transparent in the thing that you're doing. And yes, if you're building projects and you have ideas and you have a good team, then I think you can you should come and pitch to us. Yes.
Does someone want to ask a question to Olivier, Cécile, or Nathalie, or Julien?
Yeah, don't be shy. Also ask a question.
No? Someone here.
Hello, Jean-Christophe from Faber Novel. One question for you on the value creation between equity and the token. In your view, where the value should be crystallized? Because that's a key question for stakeholders. And my personal view is equity is the whole world. The value is taken by the investor, the entrepreneur. Token, this is the stakeholder economy. And we have not spoken much about the stakeholder economy here. And for me, should be more the token, but happy to have your view.
Just quick answer, but it depends of the business model, as it was mentioned before. Of course, it fits mainly like a SaaS model and more centralized things. Building on the blockchain technology, investing in equity is like the best way. And of course, it is more like decentralized and built by the community. Of course, this is interesting like, to have the token, but as a traditional VC, we are doing like comparable on that business model we already know. And so basically, if it's like a marketplace or a SaaS model and so on, we have like comparable where we can, do valuation and stuff like this. For like the token side, this is quite more difficult for us. So we are discussing with experts like Julien, for example, in order to do it.
Julien.
Can add on top, for example, on Curve, I think it's a good example. You have the IP of the project, or you have the people building the protocols like Uniswap Labs. Those guys, they will constantly ship new products. So if you're an investor as equity, you get access to the IP, access to all the knowledge and the brain inside this limited company, and also have access to a portion of the tokens. And those tokens, they can be used as a governance mechanism. If you check, I'm also, it's one of my projects, Vote Market or Liquid Lockers from StakeDAO. Now in the governance space, in the token space, those VU tokenomics really change the ecosystem of DeFi. And now when you have access to those tokens, you can really participate actively and also indirectly lobby in the ecosystem of DeFi. You have to know that, for example, in the DeFi space, if you want to build on Ethereum, it's very likely that if you want to be listed on one of those biggest projects, such as Curve, you need approximately 120 million US dollars, which is huge. So you need strategic partners, such as TechDAO, other guys, Convex, and those guys that have access to those tokens, because the only way that you can be listed to this project is by having a yes vote for your project. So you need to build in such a way that it's a DeFi Lego. And unfortunately, what we've been seeing in the space, and we replicate exactly the same disaster that happened in normal society, is the lobbying industry. People usually believe that politics and all those guys, they're actually driving the decisions, but not. The lobbyists are doing. And in DeFi space, it's exactly the same. Now you have projects that can not directly have access to a lot of money, but because they have a lot of tokens, they actually use those governance tokens as a way to direct the flow of those different products. So now they get paid a lot of money, or they can actually move how DeFi can evolve in the future. So what we're doing is there's a race to accumulate those governance tokens, because this is actually the entry door to make a project happen and be actually listed. If you want liquidity, if you're building an options project, future derivatives, anything that is now, then you need to actually have the yes of those guys. So it's a complete cartel. So you see, like, the equity can be on one side for the IP and all the different guys that are building with super fantastic knowledge. And then on a DeFi space, if your governance tokens is very correctly built, then it's a no-brainer that people will want to buy it.
Yeah. Come in.
Hi guys, Zach here. I manage a digital assets recruitment division in Dubai, and over the past 18 months, obviously, it's been very busy on that side of the world. One question I have for you is, you mentioned that you are blockchain agnostic, but are you also location agnostic? And if so, what are the challenges you face with dealing with companies in different jurisdictions?
Yeah, I think, like anyone in the space, they are kind of borders less. So they try to invest in projects that are located in different jurisdictions and countries in the world. I think for us in Europe, it's easier to invest in projects that are European-based, and also especially in France. I would say, like, some VC, they cannot invest in Paradise Islands, Cayman, or Dubai. Actually, Dubai is actually friendly in a French system. This is a bit strange, but BVI and all those different things. So, yes, we try to be agnostic, but because we like to help and like to really build with those guys, it makes sense that we like to see them also. Even if we see those guys on Meet and those tools, it's important that we see faces, because what we've seen in the past, also during the bull market, anonymous project and different things, this is not the type of thing that we do. We invest cross borders, but we don't invest in people that we don't know. Yes.
Yeah, so same here. Actually, as I was saying, we have different families of funds. And the fund I'm part of, it's 7th generation of fund. It's focused on Western Europe. So we invest in entities that are actually in Western Europe, which can be frustrating sometimes, to be really honest. But yeah, I mean, we are asset managers, we have LPs, and we are also mandated not to invest in some areas of the world, some of the Paradise Islands, which are indeed where a bit or a part of the crypto projects are basing their where their entities is based because of the regulation. Yeah.
So we are a globally distributed team. We have people in the Europe, in the US, in Latin America, Africa, Dubai, Singapore, and China. So we compare the projects across the globe, and we are also region agnostic. But we also have the partners, like in the local market, so they can help us to understand the local culture and the community and developer groups. Definitely we see a little bit, something about the valuation arbitrage across the globe. Yeah, so good.
Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap. Thank you all for coming, and let's listen to Pirate Startups.
Thank you for this wonderful roundtable. You can guys get a place. We will have a quick pitch. Don't move, don't move, don't move. We will have a quick pitch from Louis for Interstellar. But before that, I wanted kind of to recap what was said and what was the purpose for us to organize this roundtable. We did this roundtable so that you guys can confront both the visions of traditional investors and Web3 investors, and associated to that, the value they can bring. So, for example, the traditional funds are more trying to help you on the internationalization, on operation side, whether the crypto-native fund more on the technical side, on the community, on the go-to-market, to work with other projects. Thank you for your attention. Very quickly. Vas-y, Louis. Viens t'installer. Vous pouvez vous trouver des places le temps de la présentation. Installez-vous, installez-vous, installez-vous. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. I will spend 50 minutes with you. Don't worry, we will have wine tasting just after. Introducing Interstellar, which is a fine wine and spirit Web3 marketplace. And as Julien Bouteloup said, I hope that it is an outbox kind of project. Before introducing our company, I would like to thank Bilal El Alami, of course, and all his team, Peyao, Uda, for the organization of tonight. I met Bilal a few months ago in Vegas during the CES, and I saw directly that we had some synergies, and yeah, we collaborate together today. So Pirates Labs and Interstellar, because we have the same vision, and this is why Pirates Lab is investing in Interstellar. So I'm Louis de Bonnecaz. I spent 7 years in the wine industry as negociant, Bordeaux fine wine negociant, and I'm trying very, very hard to mix both Web3 and fine wine fields, which are a little bit different and opposite on the first side. In 2018, I created the first platform selling fine wine through cryptocurrency. So it was just answering a basic need, which is cashing out cryptocurrency through a different asset, as fine wine is a kind of investment. But something was missing. And then in 2021, I met my partners and I founded Wine Bottle Club, which is the biggest and the strongest community in the Web3 and fine wine and spirit fields. And why I created a club to begin? For two reasons. The first one is that the community is very important in the Web3. We said that the Web3 is the web of trust, so it's very important to gather people. And the second reason is that fine wine is the best way to gather people. We said that fine wine is the social lubricant, so we gather people around a glass of wine. So we sold out our membership collection, a little bit less than 2,000 NFTs at 0.35 Ethereum. And in our club, just in a nutshell, the two biggest advantage are physical events. So we were making physical events in the Chateau, in Bordeaux, and across France, and also kind of digital events on our Discord, for instance. And the second big advantage is an access to exclusive sales. And this is why we created Intercellar, which is the fine wine and spirit Web3 marketplace. So our concept is quite simple. First, our mission is to disrupt the fine wine and spirit industry by selling wine through a very simple concept, which is one physical bottle and one NFT. So the NFT will be the digital twin of the physical bottle, and the bottle will be stored in one of our cellars, accredited cellars, or directly at the winery. So here, you have three choices after buying your NFT. In the user experience, you start buying your bottle, you get your NFT, and then you have three choices. The first one is to claim and get delivered of your bottle, and of course you can drink it. The second one is that you can store your wines, as I said, in the winery or at our warehouse in Bordeaux. And the third choice is to keep the wine and trade the wine, because, as I said, wine is an investment. So you can trade the wine directly on our platform. And I will show you today how Intercellar is answering both wineries and consumer issues. But just before, I have some question for you. So just to know who is a regular wine drinker here. Don't be shy. It's not a tricky question. Okay. Same question for spirits, like cognac or whiskey. Okay, a little bit less. Okay. My second question is, who has ever spent more than 50 euros in a bottle? Okay. And last question, who has ever considered investing, or who has ever considered fine wine and spirit as an investment? Okay, so we have drinkers and investors here. So I will show you now how we are answering your main concern, which is the storage. So with Intercellar, no more concern about the location, no more concern about the temperature, no more concern about the humidity, no more concern about the urge to taste your wine. I mean, if you invest in the wine, you don't have you don't need to have it in your home because you are going to drink it. This is a very tricky investment because you can consume the investment. So here, as I said, we can store your wines, which is very important, but of course you can have your own storage at home. With Intercellar, we are just enhancing and optimizing your storage. After that, we have the liquidity, which is one of the biggest concern of the consumer. How to resell your wine. On Intercellar, you will be able to resell your wine through the NFT. So you just sell the NFT, and then the bottle is staying in the warehouse. And it will be able, of course, because you will have some buyers in front. And why you will have some buyers? It's because there is a traceability on the bottle. And if there is this guarantee, the provenance, you will have some buyers, which is a bit important when you want to resell your wine. A major point is also the ecological footprint. This is one of the main concerns about our generation and the next generation. And I don't know if you know, but a fine wine, I don't know about the spirit, but for a fine wine, a bottle of fine wine is traded 6 to 8 times before being drunk. So I let you imagine the ecological footprint for a bottle traveling across the globe for 6 to 8 times. With our solution, with Intercellar, the fine wine will stay in the warehouse. So there is just exchange on the NFT. So that is to say a lower carbon footprint. The fourth point is the user experience. Fine wine is a bit old-fashioned. This is not exactly the case for spirits, but we want, with Intercellar, to desacralize the buying, the purchasing of fine wines using marketing tools of the Web3, social media on the Web3 like Discord, rewards, Web3 codes, NFT, a lot of things from the Web3. And we want to put it in the wine and spirit industry. So here are the main concerns about the consumer. But Intercellar is a platform connecting producers to the consumers. So we want to face also producers' concern. Sorry. Tonight you will have an owner of a fine wine, so you will be able to taste. So I hope that she will agree with my presentation. So, as I said, we have some answers to the brands and the producers, whether it is a fine wine or a spirit brand. So the first one is the visibility on the distribution. Fine wine is the only luxury field in which there is no connection from the winery to the consumer. If you buy, I don't know, an Aston Martin, you will have direct contact. If you buy Louis Vuitton or something like that, you have direct connection. There is not this connection between the producer of wine and the final consumer. You have a lot. There are a lot of middlemen, brokers. You have negotiants. My past job. You have also importers. You have retailers. So with Intercellar, we reconnect the producers directly with the consumer. Another big concern is to target new consumers. So as I said, we will use some new user experience. This is one of the main challenge of the wineries and the producers, is to target new customers. Because when you start with a brand, normally you will finish with that brand. I take the example of my father. He's used to drink the same wines, so it's a bit boring, but it's the case. When you start with some brands, you finish with those brands. Another big point is the traceability and the counterfeits. So there are, on the market, on the European market, there are 30% of the fine wines which are fakes. In China, it's 60%. So that's a big problem. And the best way to have the guarantee of the bottle is to buy it directly from the chateau. So we call it ex-chateau. So the best way is to buy it directly from the chateau, and through NFT, you have the guarantee that if you get delivered of the bottle, it will be a real one. The last point is the royalties. So I know that there are some debates about the royalties with Blur and so on. In the wine and spirit industry, it's a little bit different. It's a manner for wineries and producers to keep a bit of sovereignty on the resale, on the secondary market. As I said, a fine wine could be traded 6 to 8 times before being drunk. So on that speculation, the wineries, they don't get any royalties. With Intercellar, they will be able to take some royalties. But this is their own appreciation. I mean, they can put 80% if they want, if they don't want any speculation, and if they don't want any trade. So we give the producers the ability to choose those royalties. Normally, we start with the figures, but I wanted to explain our company before. But I don't know if you know, but fine wine and spirits is the second biggest market in France. See, it's 18 billion euros at the export. So it's just beside aeronautics, and it's before cosmetics. So it's a very huge market. 600 million euros is the total sale on internet of fine wine, only fine wine, no spirits, in 2021. So that figure was 500 in 2020, and it will be 500, sorry, and it will be 800 in 2023. It's also an old market, so I hope that in 360 years, we will talk about Web3. But what I'm sure is that the wine market is very strong and is very old. It started with in the Middle Age with the church at the beginning, and then in 1663 with Mazarin, the first halle of vin was created in Paris. So it's a very old market. 10% a year is the average return on investment on a fine wine. So it can be less, it can be more. For the spirits, for example, the single malt whiskey, it's more like 15% a year. So now I will show you how our company, Interstellar, will make the business on this big market. So this is all our business model. So we have two kinds of revenues, the recurring revenues, of course, and one-off revenues. So I will go fast on those points. But basically, on the recurring revenues, we have those royalties that I talked about and that we can share with the winery. After that, we have the storage fee. Of course, it has a cost. And we will set up some premium subscription. The one-off revenues will be our commission on the primary market, which are kind of margin. Our launchpad fees, if we promote some wineries or brands. Some advisory, because as I said, it's a bit old-fashioned field. So yes, we made some advisory with the brands. Branding for wine and spirits, because we are going to make some brands, our own brands. So I will, you can connect our social to see that, and some other one-off revenues. To finish, this is our roadmap for the next 6 months. So there will be the first drop of a chateau, Malartic-la-Gravière, on the 12th of April. So Séverine Bonny from Malartic-la-Gravière is here today to make an impressive fine wine tasting. So you will be able to taste some old vintage, back vintage. After that, from April, so very soon, we will start our fundraising. So if you have any question about that, you can ask me, my partners, or Bilal just after. We will answer your questions. And then we will have the launch of the marketplace, first beta marketplace with a lot of drops from wineries, spirits, champagne, and so on. And then the final marketplace with all the functions will be live on September. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the wine tasting, and see you soon. Bye-bye.